After having their fight fall through on 2 different occasions, Khamzat Chimaev and Leon Edwards are officially rebooked to face each other at UFC Fight Night 187 on March 13th, 2021. Leon Edwards you would think would be the favorite to win this fight, but this isn't what the betting lines are saying. Khamzat is a slight favorite to win, and many people don't see anything wrong with this. Leon is ranked 3rd and Khamzat is ranked 15th, but how important are rankings when the cage closes? Khamzat has a real chance to shock the world with a win over Leon, and maybe catapult himself to a title shot right after. Like, why not? Leon is on an 8-fight win streak and is a top welterweight contender. That being said, Leon is going to look to spoil the Khamzat descent in the UFC and show the world his world-class abilities. Before we go any further, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We do a weekly podcast and talk about breaking news in the UFC and MMA. Khamzat's game is all centered around his high-level grappling. He will constantly incorporate level changes into his striking game. No matter what's happening in the fight, Khamzat reminds his opponents that they can and will get taken down if they don't defend the takedown from any situation on the feet. Khamzat has power in his hands and will mix in leg kicks. However, he doesn't have the most complex striking arsenal. This definitely will come with time. Look at his teammates down at his gym, for example. Alexander Gustafsson didn't come onto the scene as the Gus that we know him as today. He had many years to develop his game and had matchups against high-level competition to use it on. Khamzat in 2021 will look to threaten the takedown at all times against Leon and will look to connect on huge bombs. You might ask, why is this important to Leon? Let's just talk about Leon for a moment here. Leon is a very technical striker who is able to manage his range very well. He is able to keep his opponent at bay while inflicting volume to slow and wear them down. He doesn't have the flashiest knockout wins or anything like that, which is probably why many people don't know about Leon. The most important part of Leon's game in my opinion, which he will look to implement against Khamzat, is his ultimate defense. Now let's focus on Leon and what he does when he faces opponents with similar skill sets or positions he'll likely be put in by Khamzat. Leon has improved his ability to deal with 2 aspects of the fight: forward pressure fighters and takedown attempts. When a fighter continually pressures Leon, he is able to fight backwards, but when needed, he will clinch with his opponent. He will initiate an over-underhook with his left arm being the overhook, and then lean forward with his upper body, but at the same time pushing his hips away from his body. The overhook accomplishes 2 main things from this position. He is able to trap his opponent's right arm, and also able to exit with a left elbow or strike. He's used this repeatedly on opponents like RDA, who had no answer. RDA would push forward and was met with an over-underhook, which then led to a face-cutting left elbow. When he shied away from pushing into a clinch, RDA would be eaten up on the feet from distance and was beaten to the punch by the quicker hands of Leon. The second aspect we will look at is the forward leaning and pushing away of the hips from the body. He recognizes that he's not a high-level grappler and minimizes the instances where he could be taken down. If he wants to utilize the clinch game, he has to prevent his opponents from changing levels and taking him down, or tripping him from the clinch. By having his hips away from his body, he's already in a better defensive wrestling position, and decreases his chances of a quick transition to the ground. If his opponent goes down for a takedown, Leon has been very good at preventing the takedown with a 70% takedown defense rate. He has very good balance and he will make his opponent push him all the way to the cage. He then uses his fundamentals such as a wizard and wide base to prevent a takedown. He really uses the cage to his advantage. He raises his hips and tries his best to stay planted against the cage. Leon does very well to prevent takedowns, but they do happen. When he's on the ground, his main focus is to explode up and back to his feet as quickly as possible. He can do this because of his cardio. He can expend this energy and still know he can stand and bang where he left off. The trouble for Leon is when he is taken down and is unable to get up. Leon will stall in positions for as long as possible before they are stood up or the opponent gives him an opening. He does not have an offensive game from the bottom, nor is able to finish fights from there. Leon will also tend to give up transition fairly easily. Gunnar Nelson and Kamaru Usman did not have a difficult time in getting whatever position they wanted. Let's give some respect to Leon in his wrestling. He does take opponents down from time to time, but doesn't really do much with it. He will try to finish the fight by strikes, but the opponent will eventually get back to his feet. Khamzat will have his gas tank tested when facing Leon. It is hard enough to get Leon down because he has developed a defensive game that really has only been beaten by one person, Kamaru Usman. Khamzat will use a lot of energy trying to get Leon down, and if Khamzat overextends himself in the grappling efforts, he might find himself with no steam left in the later rounds. Remember, this is a 5-round fight. Khamzat has never been scheduled for a main event slot, but Leon has many times. Leon will game plan to drag this fight as long as possible. The longer it goes, the more he is able to stop takedowns and stay striking on the feet. If Leon wins this fight, it will be a decision or late fight stoppage. His cardio is world class and very underestimated in this matchup. Leon is accustomed to weathering the storm from grapplers, all while conserving as much of his own energy throughout the fight. Khamzat has to finish this fight in the earlier rounds, or risk being exhausted from all the time spent in an over-underhook or pressuring Leon against a cage.
Oh man, I guess Leon Edwards, but I think that's one of those toss-up fights too, because you haven't really seen a whole lot who he's fought. You basically know who Leon Edwards has fought. He's fought some of the best guys in the world. Chimaev, yeah, I don't even think I've ever heard someone say it. Chimaev, you don't really know too much about him. He's looked spectacular in the fights that he's fought in, but he hasn't really fought the level of competition. I would have to go Leon Edwards. But again, man, right now with COVID and everything and all these training camps, some people aren't even training at their gym right now. A lot of people I know have already gotten COVID, and I heard Leon Edwards, he was like losing all this weight and stuff like that. So it's just a crazy time right now. I think Leon Edwards might have gotten the win, but it's really tough to say because he's fought a lot harder competition at this point.
I'm going to go Leon Edwards. I think this is where Khamzat gets a little bit exposed. I think there's a lot of hype right now, but I think Leon Edwards is just too much too soon. The guy's beat so many high-level guys in the division, 7-fight win streak, right? So if he's on his game, he's been out for a while, I think Leon Edwards takes that by decision.
Good one. Until this moment, I think Khamzat Chimaev make everything he say, and beat badly all his opponents in the company. Leon Edwards is another level than his last opponents of Chimaev. So we'll see. I think Leon Edwards deserved the victory because he's working very, very good in the welterweight division in the company. But Khamzat Chimaev, I think, can beat Leon Edwards.
Yeah, super. Yeah, and I mean, you can say what you want about Khamzat, or however you say his name, but he's been impressive in his 3 wins, and people say that they're against nobodies or whatever, but he's been dominant, and he's went out and imposed his will. But Leon Edwards is definitely a different type of fighter. So this is one of those fights. There's been a couple fights in the past of guys who were young up-and-comers that I was like, all right, if he can beat this guy, then I'm really going to believe. And this is definitely one of them, but I think Leon's gonna beat him in this fight. I think, Leon has had some great wins, and, he was on such a roll, and then, things just haven't gone his way for the past year or so with just the landscape of the world. But I think he's going to come out motivated, and I think he's going to get the job done.
I think we haven't seen him in deep waters yet, and Leon Edwards is a game opponent. But I'm gonna go with Chimaev, man. He's got a lot of momentum behind him, and just like everybody doubted McGregor, he came out and he performed when the lights were on. And same thing with Khabib. So you got to go with the momentum, man. And I'm thinking he's gonna win it.
This is hard to. The decision would be hard who will win, but Chimaev is now very, very. He has a very good. How do you say? He believes in himself, also with his 3 wins, quick wins, and also in short notice. So if he go like this in this fight, I don't know, man. He have really good chance to beat this guy, But Leon Edwards is, like you said, a ranked name, and also a tough opponent. He should also fight for the title. I mean, in the past, but I don't know what happened. He's also a title contender, So it will be tough, I don't want to say who will win, but when I have to bet money on this, I would give it to Chimaev. Yeah.
Man,
that's gonna be tough. But Chimaev's tough. He's looking pretty good. But Leon's a old school guy. He ain't really fought he ain't been active. So I think Chimaev might get it, but I think Chimaev, he don't want none of my boy 185, the Trailblazer. You better stay away from him. He better stay at 70, man, because Kevin Holland, he's representing Texas right now, man. I'm proud of that kid, man. He's doing damn good.
That Khamzat dude is a killer. He's really tough, but I think Leon Edwards, just overall momentum that he has and the confidence that he has, I think that's going to play a big role. I think Chimaev's going to give him a tough fight, but I think Leon Edwards is going to pull it out.
If you like this video, make sure you press the thumbs up. If you want more, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this and our podcast talking about the latest news and events in UFC. Follow our Instagram page and TikTok in the description below. Who do you think wins and how? Do you think Leon can avoid being taken down and win the fight? Or will Khamzat wreak havoc and beat the third ranked welterweight in the world? Let us know in the comments below.